Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, April 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. We have all commissioners present tonight, clerk, our manager, our attorney, and our finance officer over here, Miss Margaret. Good to see everybody tonight. Let me remind you to silence your mobile devices. If you have telephones that's going to ring and make a noise, please put those on vibrate or silence those at this time. As you come tonight, if you have presentation, you come to the lectern, please be sure to press the button on the right so that the red light comes on and everybody can hear you here, and we can get a good YouTube recording also. We are pleased tonight to have Dr. Wayne Johnson, Sr. of the Shiloh AME Church to bring our invocation. Pastor Johnson will ask you to come at this time, and we'll stand together and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be led by our County Attorney Representative Dylan Laws tonight.
Let us pray. Our divine Creator, in whose presence we come, it is with thanksgiving that we say to you, thank you for another day in the mystery called life. We are grateful as we come to this meeting. We invite your presence as decisions and plans are presented and made. We pray for our nation, our state, our county, and we would ask that your benediction would rest upon our lives so that all of the glory and all of the honor will never be our cause for self-aggrandizement, but we will always be grateful to you. You are our shepherd. You are our Lord. We are your people. On this day after resurrection celebration, we just want to say thank you for all that you have done. Bless the world in which we live. Help us one day to live together as brothers and sisters, or unfortunately we will perish as fools. Bless us now. Keep us in all that we do, that it will be done always for your glory. And together we say, Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, tonight we have approval of agenda, item number 4. And I will ask you to make note of removal of consent item number 15, budget amendment number 21. This grant's given directly to TDA and not directly to the county. And then move items for decision number 2 to consent. This is the second parcel belonging to Burke County Public Schools, and this easement was approved at the Board of Education's April 8th, 2025 meeting. And then remove decision item number 3. Finance needs some additional time to assess whether this policy change is needed. So, gentlemen, with those amendments to the agenda, I would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. It's 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, tonight, gentlemen, item number 5, approval of meeting minutes. We have meeting minutes from January the 7th, 2025, Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting. January 2025, Board of Commissioners regular meeting. February the 4th, 2025, Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting. February 14th, 2025, Board of Commissioners recessed meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve these unless there's some change.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve all 4 minutes as read.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, tonight we have item 6, we have presentations. We have 3 presentations tonight. The first item of presentation is a special celebration tonight. We have a proclamation celebrating Miss Betty Chandler on her 100th birthday today. And gentlemen, I'll ask you to take a look at that proclamation in your package. I'm going to get that up here where I can see it. All right. Proclamation celebrating Burke County resident Laura Elizabeth Betty Poor Chandler on the occasion of her 100th birthday. Miss Betty, a 76-year resident of Burke County, will celebrate her birthday on May the 3rd, 2025. She was born in Moore County, North Carolina, on May the 3rd to Dewey and Nettie Prince Poor, and was one of 6 children. She moved to Buncombe County when she was 6 years old. And Miss Chandler married James Robert Chandler on June the 7th, 1941, 6 months to the day before the attack on Pearl Harbor. Mr. Chandler served honorably under General Patton's 3rd Battalion in World War II and fought in the Battle of the Bulge. They were married for 26 years until his passing at age 45 and had 2 daughters. The Chandlers moved to Burke County in 1947 when Mr. Chandler joined the NC State Highway Patrol and was assigned here. She has lived in Burke County ever since, except for 1.5 years when she moved over to Watauga County and she got her wits about her and came back to Burke County, I guess. Miss Chandler has 4 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren, and 7 great-great-grandchildren. She worked as supervisor for Shadowline, volunteered with the American Cancer Society, and taught children and adults at her church to make chrismons for the annual Christmas tree. She's a talented quilter and has made quilts for many family members, taught several grandchildren to quilt, and gifted handmade quilts to church members, especially for weddings. Miss Chandler is a woman of faith who has been a member of Calvin Heights Baptist Church since the mid-1950s, attended regularly until her health declined. The Burke County Board of Commissioners wishes Mrs. Chandler good health and happiness throughout her 100th year and beyond. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Burke County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize and congratulate Miss Betty Chandler on the celebration of her 100th birthday and extends its best wishes for continued joy and well-being. Further, the Burke County Board of Commissioners declares Saturday, May the 3rd, 2025 as Miss Laura Elizabeth Betty Chandler Day in Burke County in special recognition of her 100th birthday. Let's give Miss Betty a round. Special presentation for Miss Betty. Guys, we come around. Let's get a picture made with her family.
Pull that away.
Family, y'all come on up here with Miss Betty. We're going to present Miss Betty this stick. She's got a big family. She might need to use this. Think she probably could use it? Yeah. All right. Let's get a good picture for Miss Betty.
Everybody look this way. Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Congratulations. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to approve proclamation 202505, present to Mrs. Chandler with the walking stick. We've done that, so I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve proclamation number 2025-05 and want to offer my sincere congratulations to Ms. Chandler.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 5-0, Madam Clerk. All
Mr.
right.
Chairman, I was just advised that in that picture is 5 generations with the baby, the newest one. So, I mean, that's quite an accomplishment.
Fantastic. Absolutely. We don't get to do that very often. Again, thank you guys for being here. Item number 2 tonight is proclamation declaring April 18th, 2025 as Lyman Appreciation Day. And let me point your attention to that proclamation, gentlemen. This has been a proclamation that we've done several times, but this year, I think perhaps it's a little bit more special to most of us. I think most of us may have a little better understanding of what linemen do for us on a day-to-day basis, particularly after what most of us have been through. I suspect every one of us in this room has been through Hurricane Helene this past fall. And so these guys do a fantastic job all the time. Let me just make a few points. I won't read all of this proclamation, or maybe I will. It's not too long. The linemen play a vital role in ensuring the safe and reliable delivery of electricity to homes, businesses, and essential services across Burke County, throughout the state of North Carolina and the entire nation. Their service is essential to the daily lives of our citizens, supporting economic development, education, health care, and countless other facets of modern life. And linemen must work under dangerous conditions, oftentimes far from their homes and families, to construct and maintain the energy infrastructure across the United States. And linemen work with thousands of volts of electricity, high-top power lines, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, to keep electricity flowing, tirelessly facing all weather conditions and great personal risks to maintain and restore power, ensure the well-being and safety of our communities, and often serving as first responders during storms and other catastrophic events, working to make the scene safe for other public safety heroes. And linemen putting their lives on the line every day with little recognition from the community regarding the danger of their work. The Burke County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim the day of April 18th as Lineman Appreciation Day in Burke County, and thanks all linemen, whether employed by a local electric city such as the town of Drexel, the city of Morganton, or by a local energy cooperative like Rutherford Electric Membership Corporation, or by a large private provider like Duke Energy, for all they do for our citizens that make us able to enjoy health, safety, comfort, and quality of life every day. And tonight I know we have several linemen and those in the field of this line worker appreciation. I'm going to ask them to come forward at this time. I know we got some folks from Duke Energy, we got some folks from Rutherford Electric, town of Drexel, or city of Morganton. Any of you guys here? I'm not sure I see anybody. You guys come on forward. Yeah, I think we got some city of Morganton guys here. Did Drexel make it? Anybody from Drexel? Yeah. All right. All right. We appreciate what these guys do. Gentlemen, let's go down and get us a picture with these guys. All right, let's give them a hand. And again, we do appreciate all the work these guys do for us, and ladies in many cases, all the time, to take care of our utility needs, electric utility needs from day to day. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion to approve proclamation 2025-04.
Mr. Chairman, as the father of a lineman, I'm proud to make a motion to approve proclamation 2025-04.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 5-0. Again, thank you very much. All right, this brings us to presentation item number 3 from Lake James Litter Cleanup Report. This will be presented by Howard Morgan tonight with Lake James Area Wildlife and Nature Society. Good evening, Howard. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and Brian. Thank you guys for allowing us to come and give this report. First, I'd like to recognize some of the folks that helped. If you'll stand up, if you helped with the cleanup this year, we got a few people here. Thank you, guys. This is some of the key people I'm going to call on in just a few minutes so they can give you their update. Everybody's got a little job to do, and it takes all of us to make this happen. But again, thank you for your support, and for the dumpsters, we greatly appreciate it. The 4 dumpsters we had, we needed 8. We didn't know it at the time, but Helene, of course, played a big role on the lake. There's still a lot to be done. We collected, according to the report I got from the county, 8.98 tons from 4 dumpsters. Now, we also had another ton, maybe more, on the ground we couldn't put in the dumpsters at Mimosa. We got some photos of that here too. That's the one on the left at Mimosa, the dumpster in the background, all this stuff in the front. See a refrigerator. We got oil drums, a lot of dock parts, styrofoam, you name it. A lot of floats. There's still a lot of floats on the lake. Let's see if there's any more. This is some more of the boats that come in. Had 13 boats, which I was really proud of that, to get, a lot of the boats wasn't in the lake because of the storm we had, but the folks we had done a really good job getting the stuff in there. And I'd like to take the state park. We really had a big obstacle this year. We usually do it out of the state park. They had so much damage we couldn't use their boat ramp. They wouldn't let anybody in, so they let us use the canal bridge. So it was a little different with setting up and as many people that come in. We had 82 students, area high school and college students, 47 adults that were signed in. But working at the canal bridge, we had to compete with the fishermen and the boaters, and so it's a little different getting garbage in, getting it out. So most of it come out of Linville, we took to Mimosa. And we had a dumpster at Linville also, Linville Access, and we filled it up. We also had a cleanup earlier in the year in November, just at Linville. I think you guys helped sponsor part of that. There was a dumpster there, and thank you. We had a good turnout in November as well to clean up some of that in Linville. There's still a lot of big stuff that we can't handle. We've pinned it, and hopefully we'll get Duke Energy's contractors to clean some of that up in the days or years to come. It's just a lot of big stuff. But I want to thank some of the people that helped make this happen. Lake James State Park, Burke County Sheriff's Department, Banks Heisman, Tyler Gant, Caleb Green. Sheriff helped. He got out on the road. He had his own group of kids. We have the kids that come in. We send them out with adults. We clean up all around the lake, 26 miles, as well as the lake itself. So he helped us out. I always help us out every year. Having the police boat on the water is a big help, with EMS on the boat with them in case we need them. It's a big help. Also, we had Lake James Environmental Association that helped. Mimosa Boat Landing. It was a great help. Corbin Hightower used his front end loader to load all this stuff. Lands End Campground, Jimmy Crooks, Gary and Debbie Crooks, they pick up a long part of the 126. And we couldn't have done it without these next three guys. Ken Brooks, a dock builder with Lakeside Services, and Nick Parker, dock builder, and Philip Leonard, dock builder. These guys got a lot of this big stuff you see that we couldn't handle. Let's see if there's some more. There's one that, well, it didn't get in there, but there was one of a whole load of dock parts with Ken Brooks' son on top of it. It was a cool picture. But these guys did a lot of hard work for us. We appreciate it. Now I'd like to recognize a few people that really made this thing happen. Jerry Fantry, he is the current chairman of our chapter, our Lake James Wildlife chapter. So Jerry, if you come up, he does the roads. He aligns all these kids and adults sections of the road to pick it up. So, Jerry.
Well, thank you all for what you've done to make this possible. I just want to recognize Howard, who makes the gears turn of this whole operation. He works hard. He works hard, and boy, was it a success. Would also like to recognize Michael Spath from the Western Piedmont Community College and Adam Mazzolino from Freedom High School. I reached out to them to see if they get me some volunteers, and boy, did they get me volunteers. And these students were just terrific. I mean, they were just incredible. Hard workers, conscientious, but they had fun. They really had fun, because we got feedback from them all. And I actually got a letter from Michael Spath, and he says he can't wait till next year to get this done. So absolutely, absolutely extraordinary effort that the students put in, and Michael Spath and Adam Mazzolino. Just a terrific job, just a terrific job. So we're going to keep going doing it, and we'll keep that lake clean, and we'll keep the roads clean. The roads were a challenge, I have to admit. The roads were definitely a challenge, but a lot of hard work, and it got done. So with that said, I want to thank you again for helping us with this, with everything you did, and together we'll just get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. By the way, these students get community service letters. That's why we get a good turnout. They need this community service letter, so we give them the service letters for their benefit. Next one, I'd like to recognize does our supplies. Marty Revis and Mary Stevenson, they got a big job. We got a trailer that we bring all our supplies in and get out. Well, let him tell you. Marty Revis.
Yeah, thank y'all again for your support. We've got trash bags, signs, you name it, we got it. First aid kits, all of that are mostly donations that we get in. Some of it by funds that we get, we're able to purchase. All of that helps. So again, appreciate anything y'all have done for us and can continue to do for us. We're greatly appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. We also provide them with vests. We're running a little short on vests. We got to make an investment to get some more vests for these kids, but we try to put out road signs for them for their protection as well. So thank you Marty for the supplies. First I want to recognize Cliff Bechtel. He does the food for us and all the area restaurants. So Cliff, if you'll come up and give a quick report on the food.
Can you hear me? As I used to say that to my parents all the time, can you hear me? And then I keep going lower and lower and say, yeah, we can hear you. Anyway, Cliff Bechtel, Lake James. We've been at this 20 plus years, if you can believe that. I have trouble with that. But anyway, all I have to do now, they say, here he comes again. And how many do you want? Like I said to Dallas Stottlemyre at Chick-fil-A, he said, how many are you gonna have? I said, well, they tell me it's gonna be 150 people. He said, I'll give you 150 sandwiches, and that's the way it goes. So we had 150 sandwiches from Chick-fil-A, 50 from Burger King, 100 from Arby's. Wendy's gave Frosties, we had 100 of those, 50 vanilla, 50 chocolate. Papa John's, 12 pizzas, we cut those into 6 pieces, so we had a lot of pizzas, and I figured with all well, first of all, you know, the girls come from high school because they know the boys are gonna be there, and the boys come because they know the girls are gonna be there. And on top of that, their teachers cajole and bribe them. They say, we're gonna throw out your lowest grade, and we're gonna just average it out and stuff like that, so they like coming, they get a letter of recognition also to go with their college application, but anyway, it's been a work of pleasure for me, and it's not really work because you just show up and they plop the food on you and you take it out there. And also, when it's all said and done, I'd like to talk about the linemen for a minute, because I'd like to warn people about down power lines. My cousin, he was a first cousin, lived in Orlando, Florida, and after Helene was done, I think it was Morton came into Florida like a week later. He was just in his backyard cleaning up what he thought was debris and everything, and he stepped on a live wire in his backyard. He was the only person killed in Orlando by a hurricane. So if you see any down lines, stay away from them. Thank you very much.
All that food is a calling card for those kids. They enjoy it. Thank you, Cliff. One more, I'd like to recognize Rick and Lori Craig. They, East Shores Board, they've always done, actually, this cleanup started at East Shore some 20 years ago for a few people just cleaning up on the East Shore side. It's grown from there, so I want to recognize Rick.
First of all, thank you, commissioners, for dedicating this time to us, and I want you to know how much hard work these people put in. Like I say, 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, I became president of East Shores Association, and we were doing the roads, and everybody said, well, why you do the roads during a lake cleanup? Well, if you go from Powerhouse Road to Highway 70, everything on the left-hand side of that road runs into Catawba River. Everything on the right-hand side runs into Lake James. So by cleaning up the ditches first, it keeps a lot of this trash out of the lake. And we're trying our best to keep Lake James beautiful. And I guess they left the last person to bring up some bad news. I was here last year, and I thank the commissioners for this. And I also brought up a problem that we're having. That's what's known as the portage area on the North Powerhouse Road. And there was a Duke representative here, and she said, oh, I had no idea this was going on. I'll take care of it. Well, nothing has been done about it since that day, and it's getting worse. There's traffic there. I think Sheriff Hinchman had his group of people there, and all these kids picked up just nothing but bag after bag after bag. I know I picked up a whole pickup load myself. So I don't know how many of you were here when Sandy Beach was around Lake James and how big a problem it was. But this is going to become a new Sandy Beach if the commissioners or someone doesn't take advantage of or get to it and start doing something about it, because there were no parking signs up there. They've tore the no parking signs down. They just come in there and they go to the lake and they leave diapers, they leave everything, trash, whatever they bring in, they don't take out. So I'm just asking, maybe the county commissioners can write a letter to Duke Energy. It's Duke Energy property. What happened to this piece is when the new road was cut down to Powerhouse Road, they left the old road base in there, and now it's become a parking lot for nothing but people to go down and trash the lake. So I don't know what we need to do next to come up with that, but I'd like to, tell the commissioners we'd like to have something done about it if they can. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you again. I know it's been long, but it's been 3 months putting this together every year. So I'd like to thank you again and all the volunteers and neighbors and friends and businesses that want to keep Lake James clean. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Howard. Appreciate all the work that you guys are doing to help keep the lake clean, help keep our community clean. And with that, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to accept this report as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the report as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Thank you very much, 5-0. Again, let's give these folks a big hand for all the work they've done. All right, this brings us to item number 7, scheduled public hearings tonight. We have a couple public hearings. First one comes from Community Development, ZMA 2025-01, 2907 NC 18 South, rezoning public hearing. This will be presented tonight by Alan Glines, our Deputy County Manager, Planning Director. Afternoon, evening, Alan.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman Britton, Commissioners, members of the public and staff. We have a request, we received a request from Ryan Honeycutt, who is with us here tonight, to rezone his property at 2907 North Carolina 18 South. It's a very small tract of land, it's 0.27 acre, and he'd like to change that zoning from its current R2 zone to general business. The property has, it's had a building on it for quite some time, and it's always been used as a commercial property. So I'm not really sure how it was missed when zoning was initiated here a couple decades ago, but it's a small tract sitting on the side of the road there. This is the current zoning right now. We have industrial to the side, on the south side, and then there's other commercial properties in that vicinity, general business in the area. So it kind of becomes like a mixed-use node in that section of 18. And we have the future land use map, and you know, the future land use map tracks pretty closely with current zoning, so the future land use there would be currently designated as residential infill. And with this request, if it was approved, it would change, it would be noted as general business, as a future land use. Burke County, our current plan, the strategic plan for land uses, supports commercial infill and support business growth in Burke County. And I think the intent here with this use is commercial, so this would kind of line things up properly if to be approved tonight. So the planning board did review this request at the end of February. It's how our schedules work. And they voted to support the request with a vote of 7-0. So I can answer any questions for you if you have anything for me.
All right, thank you, Alan. Gentlemen, before I open the public hearing, are there any questions for Alan? All right, seeing hearing none. This time I'll open the public hearing to hear anyone wish to speak on this item. Do we have anyone here tonight to speak on this item? Seeing hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-03 as it relates to ZMA 2025-01 for the parcel corresponding to PIN number 2712-54-8374 to rezone a single parcel from residential to R2 district to general business GB district, and to adjust the future land use map to general business for this parcel. Further, the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the Blueprint Burke Strategic Land Use Plan acknowledges and supports the development of local businesses, and the building was constructed for commercial use, and rezoning will align the use with proper zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that's 5-0. All right, thank you, Alan. This brings us to item number 2, also from Community Development, the ZMA 2025-02, Ashton Drive, rezoning public hearing. And this will also be presented by Mr. Glines.
All right, thank you very much. We have a request to rezone a 1.15 acre parcel of land on Ashton Drive, and this has been brought to us by the owners, Mickey and Debbie Evans, who own a property nearby. And just to the right, I'll show you on this map here. This is Evans Construction, and this is the parcel at hand. It's right in from Aston Drive at Eichard Road, Hiss Road, and Raintree Street are located there. The request here is to rezone this tract of land from R2 to general business. And as we can see from the current zoning map, that would match the Evans Construction property, which is at this site here. And this has operated at this location since about 1970. And if they were able to take in that tract of land as, change the zoning and use it for their business, it would support the business uses in that area, in his site next door. The little bit of history of the area, Evans Construction at one time did housing development, and they owned a lot of those tracts of land on Raintree Street and other areas nearby, and sort of developed that community there. The future land use map shows that as residential infill, but that's not uncommon, as we've discussed, because the future land use map often tracks with the current zoning. But if it was changed, it would support that business there, and that's one of the goals of the future land use map, or the future land use plan, is to support local growth of community businesses. Now, if it was to be approved and changed, that parcel would have to provide a buffer, and this buffer would go on the south side, the west side, and the north side, adjacent to any other residential uses. So a buffer would go here, here, and here, and it would, and the idea with the our zoning ordinance is to address neighbor conflicts through planted landscape buffer. So that buffer would be a 10-foot wide buffer made up of evergreens, mostly planted 6 feet apart on center, and they have to be at least 5 feet at planting, and they can go taller. So it kind of creates a buffer. I think over the years, some plantings were added to that tract of land, and maybe not all of them have survived, but there is some stuff there now. They'd have to augment that to make a full buffer, if approved.
Mr. Chairman, I only have one quick question related to the buffer. Does the buffer have to be, is there a restriction based on the full growth diameter of the shrubs or the evergreens that are planted? They have to be that far off the property line as to not encroach on the neighbor?
Right, they're within a 10-foot strip, measured from the property line into the tract of land.
Okay.
So they stay, on the tract of land, to kind of create that buffer where the, the owner can manage that from the inside. The planning board did review this request on February 27th. They did not vote to support it. There was a neighbor, Ms. Swanson, came out and was concerned about the impacts on her house, and she's in this area here. I'm going to point it out on the map. She lives in these two tracts, and had concerns about it. The planning board did vote 6-1 to deny that recommendation, to provide a negative recommendation to you all. Anything else I can offer with this right now?
All right, thank you, Alan. Any questions for Alan before I open the public hearing? Seeing here none, at this time I'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone here tonight to speak to this issue?
Mr. Chairman, we have Terry Swanson.
Okay, Terry?
Hi, as said, I'm Terry Swanson, and I do own the two lots that are closest to Evans Paving. We were here 2 years ago for this same thing. This group, or whoever was here 2 years ago, voted to deny Mr. Evans' request to run his business on the lot, and he's continued for the last 2 years to do that. Nothing has changed in that 2 years. The house, the lot that my home is on now was originally owned by George Gregg. He wanted to put empty trailers from his trucking company on it. He planted Leland cypress down both sides of what's now where my house sits. and was told no, that the growth pattern for that area, they wanted housing, not businesses. If you look at that, I don't know how well it shows it, but to the left side, there are houses, nothing but houses. Down Raintree, that's nothing but a housing development. My house and a lot sits directly beside of this. To the left side, there have been at least 5 new houses within the last 6 months built. Behind where Evans's is that connects into Raintree, they've put a full development back in there. The only thing, everything around that area is growing up with more single-family homes, more school children, more community. I understand Mr. Evans's business is there, and it was there when we came, and that was fine. But the lots that were there were nothing but trees that Tommy Blanton owned, that he could put 2 more. He had 2 half-acre lots that he could put 2 more double wides on. That was the plan for him to rent. At least that's what he told us. But it was residential. So everything on every side of us is residential. This is the only business. And so I would just ask you to again think, this is, as was said 2 years ago in this same meeting, the growth pattern for this is for residents, for children, for communities. These trucks going in and out are not good for the school children standing out. Raintree has kids that are there that the trucks are going in and out of. Ashton Drive has families that the trucks are going in and out of. So I would just ask you to please protect the community and let it grow as a community, not as a business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. Anyone else to speak to this item? Please state your name.
Mickey Evans. I'm Mickey Evans with Evans Construction. We're a 3rd generation asphalt paving and grading company, and been in business in Burke County at the same location for 55 years. Our hours are from 7:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. During this time, we've never had any complaints from any neighbors. We are requesting to rezone the property we purchased next to us to park our equipment. There will be no difference, no changes in activity or traffic than what it is now. It has become a safety issue for our employees trying to move equipment to get what is needed in the small area we have there. We have 14 employees that are all Burke County residents. I've been before the commissioners before when we only had 3 commissioners present. It was voted down 2-1. We had one neighbor, Ms. Swanson, who had some negative comments. Since this time, it got me thinking. I said, does anybody else in this neighborhood have a problem with this? So I went around to all of the neighbors, and I personally met with them to find out if anybody had any issues with rezoning the property and how it would affect them. No property owners, other than Ms. Swanson, in the neighborhood had any opposition to rezoning. In fact, most have positive comments. I've got 22 signatures of property owners, the people that are around the property, and 5 of these signatures, which is everybody adjoining the property, has signed a petition stating that they have no problem with it. I have got one letter here. Mr. Ken Cranford, he would have been here tonight, but he's out of town, and also Tommy Blanton. Tommy owns the property on the left going into Ashton Drive. There's 2 lots. Ken Cranford owns the property in the purple. He also owns across Raintree. He owns a house in that property. And he also lives in the next property over. So he lives in the community. And it says, I am in full support of changing the zoning parcel for Mickey Evans and Evans Construction on Ashton Drive. Using this entrance for his construction equipment makes common sense. There is a bus stop located at the end of Raintree Street, and kids drive their bikes and walk along the street regularly. It will be much safer for the Raintree community for Evans to use Ashton Drive as the primary entrance and exit. And he also lists the property that he owns, and this gives me encompassing perspective from both the business and personal lens, which I have no objection through either of the purposes. So I have that, and I have Miss Janine Atkins. Jean, would you stand up? She owns the property, the most footage on the north side of the property there. And she also signed a petition that she has not got any problem with Evans Construction rezoning it. Okay, the property is enclosed with fence and topped with barbed wire. The only way in and through the gate is on Ashton Drive. We have a deeded 45-foot right-of-way on Ashton Drive. We leave the gate open during business hours for deliveries, but we lock it securely after hours. We also have security cameras overlooking the property, so we know who is delivering products, uniforms, and picking up trash. The people here tonight are neighbors, friends, and employees who support Evans Construction. Y'all stand up. All of these are employees and neighbors that support Evans Construction. And we recognize that Evans Construction for all the work they do in Burke County. A lot of our work is in Burke County. And I think that in doing this, my employees deserve a safe place to work. They work hard, it's hard work, and it would make their job a whole lot easier. And I've got these petitions of all the neighbors, if the commissioners want them.
We'll just give those to the clerk, please.
Take this for you. Want to do your letters too?
Yeah, here's the letter, here's the copies. And then these are one of the around.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Is there anyone else tonight to speak to this issue? If someone's coming. Please state your name.
Jean Miller. I have been with Evans Construction for the last 5 years, and I work in the office, but I do see a lot that goes on outside, and I think our main concern is that we are very limited on space. And if you look, the garage takes up over half of the space there, and then there's, a building there that just basically, it's just a cover that covers all of our dump trucks. It covers all of we have tractors, we have trailers, we have just regular cab trucks that the employees drive out to the job sites. There's really not much room for them to move in there. We have, as we know, we have this empty lot over here, which would be ideal to be able to at least put some of the machinery over there from time to time. It's not something that we need always, but it's one of the things that we do need. And, I worry about our employees because they're coming out every single morning, they're bringing out the dump trucks or their machinery or whatever. They're coming and they're having to fuel these trucks. And that is also just right on this side of the garage where they do that. Now, if they're out there and if they don't notice that somebody is walking behind them, then they could very easily start backing up and hit somebody. These trucks, the dump trucks, don't have backup cameras. So it's really hard to be able to see, and I've seen numerous occasions where it is really close out there. So I just would like to say that in my opinion, that we don't have enough room to move what we have. These employees work hard, and they work hard every day, and they work in all kinds of weather, They work in the rain, they work in the snow, they work in the heat. And, you know, they deserve a space to be safe. And I just think most of the employees that have been with Evans Construction, they've been with us for years. And they are family, and we look out for them like family. But thank you. I just wanted to tell you what I thought.
Thank you. Anyone else speak to this issue?
Mr. Chairman, I got a question for Mr. Glines. Now, help me understand, if I owned a trucking company who had 4 trucks that went overland every week, do I need permission from the county to park my vehicles on my property?
If it's part of the business, if it's like an active business activity, the zoning, the underlying zoning should match the business activity.
Is this something that and I know he wouldn't do this, but if Mr. Evans had just started doing that, what would have been your next action if he'd had to come and ask for permission?
Right,
If he would have just waited and asked for forgiveness?
Well, there was an early application a few years back. Communications with staff have occurred. Over the years, Ms. Swanson has complained some about some activity, but we've been out there a time or two ourselves to see what the complaint was about. And so some of the complaint is just the trucks will move through Ashton Drive to the back of the facility there and sort of stage and work. But Mr. Evans is also a farmer, so he's been able to keep some supplies on his own tract of land that's related to the residential part of it. So we've had discussions, we've limited him to use that site fully for support of this business, and that's what he's asking for, is just a little bit of room to expand. I think the Blueprint Burke Strategic Land Use Plan does, we want to support businesses, so, but we're always in that balance of the community, the wider community around it, and then what do we have built into our ordinances to support changes like growth of a commercial nature. So that's where that buffer idea comes in.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This also would cut it off Raintree, is that correct?
No, there's
for the children, as far as that, it'll give them a separate entrance, right?
Right. So there is an access on Raintree. I think what they're saying is most of the activity during the day, besides employees arriving to work, most of the coming and going of any trucks or equipment is going to come out of Ashton Drive. So it takes it off of Raintree, where there's more of a neighborhood, more walking with kids and stuff like that after school, or to meet the bus.
Thank you.
Alan, would this be an application for conditional use to put some conditions on in terms of work hours or uses, or rather than just a general business?
Well, that is one aspect of conditional zoning that you could put conditions on it, like a limitation of hours. But I think if they don't work on weekends and they don't work past 4, that's just kind of normal business type daylight hours, if you will. I'm not sure what else we'd put on it. Mr. Evans doesn't have a stone crusher. He doesn't mix asphalt. He's not doing those kind of activities here. It's really just the center of his business, and people come and go. So it's kind of, I'm not sure how we limit it exactly, except maybe just hours.
Okay.
If it was conditional zone.
May I say something? That's what we were told the last time, is there was no way to put a restriction on it. There were huge piles of asphalt. There's trucks going in and out. They come in, pick up, drop off. At the time when I first started the complaints, there were 20 or 40 foot piles of asphalt on this property. And that's what this board had said the last time, is there's no way to restrict that. If it's on business, he can do anything he wants there. As many trucks as he wants going through. I don't oppose him using Ashton Drive. I oppose that being a residential, the change from residential. I don't oppose the road. I oppose the lot being made from residential to business because he can put anything he wants and drive anything he wants over it.
So, Mr. Evans, just help me understand. So right now, your entrance comes off of Braintree, and if you use the lot, do you have an entrance through your current business onto the lot, I presume? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of it, about
Connecting to your existing parcel. There's a gate right there that
Okay.
ties them together down Ashton.
So currently, you're not using Ashton?
yes, I'm using Ashton
You
Drive.
are using
Yeah,
Ashton?
because I've got a, well, I've done. Ashton Drive, we've been going in there.
Just use that little red button there.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
We've got a gate here, there's a fence all the way around the property here. Now, there is an entrance right here, but there's a lot of kids and pedestrian traffic walking this road in the mornings. And so we started using Ashton Drive. This property is, I have no intentions other than just parking equipment on. Basically, to get it, we've all got it jumbled up right on this property here, and we just need some more room to park equipment. That's all the intentions I have. It's not going to increase any more traffic, any more activity, other than what we're doing. And we go out in the mornings about 8 o'clock, and we come back in around 4 and lock the gate, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other questions on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you've other commissioners had any calls. Those two property owners, Blanton and Cranford, did call me and did say that they had no issues. And then I had another citizen just call as a reference that they knew Mr. Evans and was in support. So I don't know if you got the call, but I wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, full disclosure, I would say that I've had 4 calls relative to this, all in favor.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Anyone else speak to this matter? All right, seeing here none, I'll close the public hearing, and at this time, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-04 as it relates to ZMA 2025-2 for the parcel corresponding to PIN 2773-13-5760 to rezone a single parcel from residential 2R-2 district to general business G-B district to adjust the future land use map to general business for this parcel. The board finds that the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the blueprint Burke Strategic Land Plan acknowledges other residential, non-residential uses in the area and supports expansion of local businesses. The zoning code provides for perimeter landscape buffer to be managed impacts on residential areas.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stroud. All those in favor of this motion signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that's 5-0. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Alan. This brings us now to item number 8, informal public comments tonight. Madam Clerk, any folks signed up to speak?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I have 3 people tonight. Kelly Pearson,
Ms. Pearson?
Hi, my name is Kelly Pearson, and I serve as a guardian ad litem for Burke County. But more importantly, I'm the proud adoptive mother of 4 incredible children, all with special needs. Each of my children came into this world facing unimaginable odds. They were all born drug exposed through no fault of their own, infants who had no say in the choices made before they took their first breath. From day one, they've needed a level of support and care that goes beyond the basic needs. I know you have been workshopping on how to use settlement funds our county has received, and I'm truly grateful for the time and thought that you've put into this process. I'm here to ask from one parent to a room full of leaders that you please think about these kids. The lack of mental health services and support for children with intellectual and developmental delays in our county is staggering. What we do have is so overwhelmed that families are waiting weeks, sometimes months, just to get an appointment. Our children need more access to counseling, real timely counseling, without waiting in line for help that should be immediate. And when there's a crisis, it's even more heartbreaking. Right now, the only emergency option is the ER hallway at Grace Hospital. That's not care, that's triage. And it's not enough. We need emergency mental health resources that are truly responsive, trauma-informed, and child-focused. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I'm not a policymaker or a professional in this field. I'm just a mom, standing here for her kids and for all the other kids who don't have someone to speak to them. They deserve better. They deserve a system that is ready to catch them when they fall, not one that's already too full to help. As you make these difficult and important decisions, I ask you to keep them in mind. Invest in mental health. Invest in developmental and support. Invest in emergency care that doesn't mean waiting in a hallway for someone to notice. Thank you for your time and compassion and your commitment to the children of our community.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Amy Kincaid.
Good evening. I'm Amy Kincaid. I'm also a city resident and the district administrator for the Guardian Ad Litem program. Thank you all for signing a request for a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, also for turning your building lights blue in awareness of this. This is my second year asking, and being a program that advocates on behalf of children, I do not want this issue minimalized or just another piece of paper that you sign. I would ask, no, I would beg you, that the children placed in Burke County's custody be placed on the highest list of your agenda or your priorities. Several months ago, this board asked to take on the governance role of the Department of Social Services. And as I continue to see the horrific situations of children coming into care, the increase in staff turnover at the department, have you noticed the department's morale? And on any given week, there are children sleeping at the Department of Social Services. There's even a Facebook request for a meal train, the public, a meal train to feed these children 3 meals a day. And I'm here tonight to remind you that this is your business. The 180 plus children placed in the county's custody should take precedence over the nicest waste collection sites, the most luxurious animal shelters, and any other project taking place in this county. The children in your custody are sleeping on cots. And I know it's not just here in this county, because now I'm over 3. I also wanted you to know that there's a team of us formed to help spread the word at local churches, to help them understand the need here in this county, and for them to consider fostering. If you would like us to come present to you, or if you would like an invitation to our next location, I would love for you to be there and to attend. In the meantime, the proclamation you just agreed to for only a few days left in this month states, we must work together to ensure all children and families are healthy, that they're thriving, and that we must invest more in effective child abuse prevention initiatives and family strengthened policies and support. Thank you for your time and attention, and I pray for our children in this county.
Thank you, Ms. Kincaid. Madam Clerk.
Kathy Helms.
My name is Kathy Helms. First of all, I just want to say thank you for opening this meeting in prayer. Thank you for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you to Kay, who helped me get organized and get here tonight. So I'm here on behalf of Nancy Harden, who is 80 years old, a widow who owns and resides at 4131 Valley Trail. She's unable to be here tonight due to having to care for her 18-month-old great-grandson as a result of the child's mother having surgery today. Beverly Hall, who resides with Nancy, is here with me. I myself lived with Nancy recently for 18 months while I was recovering for a bad fall. So I have firsthand knowledge of the matter that I bring to you, which is Valley Trail and its offshoot Willie Ray Road. Both are non-state maintained roads located off Jamestown Road near exit 96 off of I-40. Together, these two roads serve at least 30 homes. The roads are in extremely poor condition, slippery and treacherous in wet weather. And to further complicate the matter, the culvert on Valley Trail adjacent to Jamestown Road is in a precarious state, the ditches having been damaged by heavy rains during Hurricane Helene. Yet, in spite of the condition of the roads, homes continue to be permitted and constructed and mobile homes brought into the community. The residents have held several meetings over the past year. In general, we are a community of elderly people and Hispanics who care for each other. We don't have money, but we do have unity. And it comes down to this. This is a great big mess, and the problem is way too big for us. We have lifted up our appeals to heaven for a miracle of grace, and now we appeal to you, our county commissioners, to be our advocates. We'll be praying for wisdom for you. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Helms. Madam Clerk.
That's all the cards that I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, with that, we'll close our public comment period tonight. We'll move to item number 9. This is our consent agenda, and I'll ask our manager to review the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very lengthy consent agenda for consideration, so bear with me as I work through this. Item 1 for consideration is from 911. This is a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Item 2 is from our Animal Services Foundation, a proclamation declaring April 2025 as Cruelty to Animals Prevention Month. Item 3 is amendments to your 2025 Rules of Procedure for the Board of Commissioners. A couple highlights: changing your meeting date to Mondays, adding the monthly DSS director, the quarterly health director reports, and then some changes to the comment periods, or summary of some of the changes that are being proposed. Item number 4 is a proclamation for litter sweep. The next series is consideration of items of budget amendments. Item 5 is from our library. This is a requested budget $13,329. This is additional state aid to county state grant funds that'll be used to purchase ebooks. Item number 6 is budget amendment number 12 from Senior Services, a requested budget $10,928. That's two funding sources: a $5,000 state grant that was awarded following Hurricane Helene, and then a $5,928 ask, and the $5,000 was used to supplement Meals on Wheels, and then an additional $5,928 of private donations that was used to offset costs for the 40th anniversary celebration. Item number 7 is budget amendment number 13 on the year, requested budget $25,407. These are dollars received from, as part of an economic development incentive payment back to the State Department of Commerce. We received these funds from Zero Delta, which the board is familiar with, asking to budget those so we can have that payment to the Department of Commerce recorded. Item number 8 is budget amendment number 14, another state STRAP grant, which is stream bank remediation. This is coming through DEQ to our soil and water department, $162,800. I would point out that these dollars were earmarked prior to the storm, and their targeted area is Silver Creek, the Silver Creek area. Item number 9, budget amendment number 15, is the establishment as the final supplementation of the ARPA dollars, as well as recognizing a small component of interest to set that aside for capital improvement plan funding, $1,321,926. Item number 10, budget amendment number 16, as a request, $850,000. I would point out that neither number 15 nor 16, Mr. Chairman, are additional appropriations. It's moving to the appropriate fund. The 850 is 2 years for Western Piedmont Community College, setting aside their annual allocation of $425 for 2 years into a separate capital reserve fund. Item number 11, budget amendment number 17. This is a request for $9,041,700. And this is setting up our FEMA application for public assistance across the 5 categories that will be part of our federal application. Item 12, budget amendment number 18. We have over-collected revenue, estimated revenue for occupancy tax. All of this will be flowed through to the TDA. It's a requested budget $550,000. And again, that's just over-collection from anticipated revenues. Budget amendment number 19 is a request to budget a $25,000 grant. This too will be a flow through and it will go to Salem Volunteer Fire Department. That's part of a DOT grant for parking lot driveway permitting. Item 14, budget amendment number 20, is a donation received from the ASPCA, which is an animal welfare organization, to our Animal Services Department. Again, it's part of the storm remediation. Item 16 is budget amendment number 22. And this is to budget to $183,542, which is essentially the interest earned on the 2021 LME MCO grant. And as you all talked about at your February 14th work session, we'll be sending that to Partners Behavioral Health. So this budget amendment allows us to do that. Item 17 is from a clerk, and this is appointments to seats number 4 and number 19 of JCPC. Item 18 is reappointments to our America 250 committee. Number 19 for consideration is a proclamation declaring May the 1st, 2025 as a National Day of Prayer. Item 20 is a 12-month extension for leased space of county property to adult corrections. Item number 21 is a request from Longtown Volunteer Fire Department for the board to validate a letter to Home Trust Bank of revenue guarantee for capital expansion. The expansion is roughly 1,200 square feet, $670,000 is the estimated cost. Item number 22 is from a proclamation from the guardian ad litem proclaiming April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Item number 23 is from our health department declaring another proclamation, National Public Health Week. Items 24 through 26 are all from our tax department. Number 24 is our March 2025 collection report. Number 25 is our March 2025 release and refund report. Number 26 is the annual order to advertise for delinquent 2024 real property taxes. And finally, for consideration, is an application from Duke Energy for a permanent utility easement that would run across county property adjoining Drawn High School. That was fairly lengthy, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions on these items? Just for clarity, I would note to the audience and those listening that all of these items were reviewed in far more detail during our pre-agenda meeting. So that's the consent agenda tonight. With that, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, this brings us to item number 10, items for decision tonight. First item comes from the clerk, appointment to the Burke County Library Board of Trustees. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. This is a request to remove Mark Patrick's name from the roster for the Burke County Library Board of Trustees and thank him for his service, and to appoint either Janice Gravely or Locke Hoffman to seat number 4, which is an at-large seat, to complete the remainder of a term ending December 31st, 2027.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Gentlemen, you've heard this information. We have tonight 2 applicants for this seat, number 4, Janice Gravely or Locke Hoffman. I would entertain nominations for seat number 4.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to remove Mark Patrick's name from the roster for the Burke County Library Board of Trustees, thank him for his service, and to appoint Janice Gravely to seat number 4 at large.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Any other nominations? Seeing here none, I'll close nominations. All those in favor of seating Janice Gravely, please indicate with the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that's 5-0. And we removed earlier items number 2 and 3. This brings us to item number 4 from General Services, award contract for water meter purchase and installation. This will be presented tonight by Mark Delahunt, our General Services Director. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening. No, sir. That's a particular what we currently have, and the other one, the bigger S is the current. Yes, sir. That's correct. And that's, it shows the difference in technology of what we're looking to get here. And what is the technology difference? The data collection, the storage of information it has that's retrievable for our customers, and I'll be getting into some of that in my PowerPoint here. Again, as you mentioned during your pre-agenda meeting, we received bids for the purchase of 2,240 water meters on March 18th and bids for their installation on April 4th. This will constitute a complete replacement of all of Burke County's residential customer water meters. And at this time, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the process and the project. Burke County has 3 separate systems, which you've probably been told a number of times through the AIA information, and totaling about 103 miles of water line. Our customer count on those 3 systems is about 220 for Airport Roadhis line, 35 for O'Mara, and the Burke South, which is called that because it is primarily south of I-40. It's about 2,000 water customers. There's 3 different types of water meters out there. It's manual read would be one, which is what they had in the Stone Age when I started in 2000, where you actually got out of the truck down on your hands and knees, flick the lid, wipe the mud off, and call out a reading to the guy in the truck. What we have now is AMR, drive-by, and it transmits a radio signal to the truck as a drive-by. The other technology is ARI, which actually transmit a signal back to the office through a radio transmission, and you have to have, our terrain is not really conducive to that because the mountainous terrain, we would have to put in a bunch of repeater stations and stuff to retrieve that information at the office, so it just wasn't a good setup for our location. Our current meter situation, most of our residential meters, as I said, are AMR. They're 12 to 15 years old. And due to that age, there's reduced accuracy and due to the wear and tear on the internal components and a lot of battery failure as well. When that happens, it still reads or records, but it fails to transmit. We have to get out and replace that. So the bids for purchase of the water meters, we actually got 4 bids with one from Core and Main for Neptune T10 meters, which is what you have up there, is a national company with locations throughout the U.S., including locations in Charlotte and Asheville. This next slide, you might ask what other water providers in our area use. There's a total of 8 different water providers in Burke County, and if you'll see on the far side of that slide, that's the meters they use. 3 of those 8 already use Neptune T10, and we will be the 4th. There's a reason that's because they're good meters. So another advantage to that'll put the sales rep in our area quite often because he's got a number of customers here. Some of the features of the Neptune T10 meters, they're manufactured right here in the U.S. in Alabama. As I stated earlier, the Neptune T10 meters store 96-day history of usage, providing leak, backflow, and tampering alerts. So when we go out and read, we'll not only get a reading, we'll get a flag for any other information that, like a backflow situation or a leakage situation or anything of that nature would be captured when it reads, and we'll be able to alert the customer. And then, like I said, they have flow reports, and this is very helpful in resolving customer disputes. When they say, you know, we can tell them exactly when the consumption escalated on actually hourly increments if need be. Another feature is Neptune T10 meters have a full 10-year replacement warranty. As you'll see here, after 10 years, we get 100% replacement. 11 and 12, it drops to 70 and so forth. This is a pretty good warranty. I hope we'll never have to take advantage of that because they are good meters. This is a typical flow report information. As I was mentioning earlier, this is actually hourly. Now this report is in cubic meters. Our meters will read in gallons. But if you'll notice that solid blue line along the bottom, that notes continuous consumption. So if a customer had a problem, we could print that out and share that information with them, or even email it to them if they so chose. Now on to the installation part of this project. That was on the 4th, and the bids required a performance bond, payment bond, and proof of insurance. The bids included a unit price for install the meter, unit price for meter setter replacement, meter box replacement, and replacement of the PRVs as needed. I don't think much of that other than the meter stall is going to be needed. We may need to replace some of the boxes, but other than that, we shouldn't have a whole lot of cost in addition to the actual bid price. Contract states 150 days to completion, and this includes a penalty of $250 a day for failure to complete that date. I looked at the calendar, and if we're fortunate enough to begin installing them in even June, this should put us wrapping things up about October. This is the results of that bid. Company name EnviroCore. It's actually have a subsidiary, which you'll see in your agenda packet. Let's see, that's RTS. That they're out of Maryland, and they included in their proposal a number of references, one of which was actually in Statesville for a recent project of over 3,000 meters. And when I spoke to my counterpart there, he was very pleased with their service they provided and said it went very smooth for them, so I'm happy to hear that. Again, they're based out of Maryland. They have over 1.3 meters installed since I started in 2003, and their bid submittal had over 50 water meter replacement projects spanning 19 states. Their installation process will provide the county with 24/7 access to progress through their work management program, which includes data and photo verification of each meter installed. The project funding, the cost, this is for the purchase of not only the meters, but their installation. Both bids, low bids, came in at $751,736.42. The funds, which are all grant funds for this project, were allotted at over 1.3 million. So the remaining balance will be available for water sewer related needs. And that's all I have, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Gentlemen, any questions for Mark on this item? Mark, do these meters have a battery in them also?
Yes, sir. Yeah, real good one.
What's the life of those batteries? You have any idea?
Well, as you see from that's a 10-year full replacement, so it's going to be in excess of that, I'm sure. Yep.
Okay. Other questions, comments? All right, hearing none, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one quick question. Being that our water services are actually an enterprise fund, is there a return on investment based on customer usage that we can kind of?
The return on investment would actually come as the more accuracy of these meters versus what we have now being 12 to 15 years old. The accuracy, I presume, is going to jump considerably. I think some of the industry standards show it, losing a considerable amount of their capturing the volume, especially when it comes to low flow instances like a leaky commode or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, you mentioned this, but just 2 points of clarity. Working with Chuck Willis and his team on our AIA project, this is one of the recommendations that they have.
That's correct.
They also point out that as meters age, they don't speed up, right? So as meters age, they slow down. And we know that we have 45% of the water that we're buying to sell, we're unaccounted for. Likely a big part of that is that more water is going through the meter than what it is reading, or it's not reading accurately and regularly. So we think that will help this. And you mentioned this, but I would point out the county received in 2021 a $1.1 million grant from the state, and then in 2023 an additional $200,000 grant. That's the 1.3 funding source was made up of those two grants. So even though it is a project that we're contracting, the funding source was outside of local dollars entirely.
That's correct, and this is a needed use of those funds for sure.
Other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to award the contract to Core and Main for the purchase of approximately 2,000 water meters and the associated hardware in the amount of $576,110.50. In addition to awarding the contract to RTS Water Solutions for the water meter installation services in the amount of $175,625.92. Further, authorize the county manager to execute the contract subject to review and/or revision by the county attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, it's 5-0. Thank you, Mark. This brings us to item number 5, Salem Fire and Rescue, report on building expansion, purchase of fire truck, and request for increase in fire tax. This will be presented tonight by Chief Autry from Salem Fire and Rescue. Come on down, Chief.
Any of that. I'd also like to point out that we have a ISO rating, if you're familiar with that, Insurance Services Organization fire rating of a split district 5/9E. We earned that Class 5 certification, I'm thinking about 5-6 years ago. We've maintained it. We would like to actually see that lowered to a Class 4 ISO rating in the future. Things they look at in these ISO ratings include training, resources, the amount of water that we're able to move and or pump, all those sorts of things. And that ISO rating from the Insurance Services Organization largely determines the insurance rates that homeowners pay. And I would like to point out that one of the few things that you can see a direct return on in taxes is lowering your ISO rating and then the corresponding decrease in insurance amounts. Anyone that's familiar with this process could vouch that that's true. So I would like to point that out. I actually meant to mention it at the last meeting and forgot. But I do think this tax increase is warranted. I do think we need this truck. We're going to have the truck one way or another with or without the tax rate increase. So that means we would have to cut funding from other things that we're currently doing, which we also need. A couple people asked about grants and things like that. We've applied for every grant we're eligible for. We always have. We've gotten a few grants in the past. We got a grant just a few years ago for a SCBA fill station, which we have now. It was installed in the new building. Prior to that, we were having to go to the city of Morganton to fill SCBA cylinders. So we've applied for a number of grants. We've received a few. We apply for every grant that's available, but, you know, with the current situation with federal government grants, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the next couple of years getting too many grants, or anyone else for that matter. You know, politics aside, that's just the reality of that. But I do think we've done our due diligence. We've saved money through the years, and now we're in the process of spending that to get the things we need. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Chief Autry. Gentlemen, you've heard the information. We heard the information during the pre-agenda. Any questions for the chief at this time? Right?
Yes, Chief, thank you so much for what y'all do. You've unfortunately been out to my place several years ago, and we were just grateful for what you did for us out there. Just a couple questions. I think the last report I'd seen in our packet, about how much money do you guys have on hand right now? I think
$550,000.
$550. Okay,
Yes.
I thought it was like 860.
Well, we have 550 pocketed in a CD that we intend to use for expenses. There's more money obviously in checking accounts and operating expenses, but we've got $550,000 left of the about $1.5 million that we had initially saved, spent about $1 million of it, and then intend to spend this money paying down the balance on the building, and then using what's left as a down payment on the truck.
Well, certainly, there's nothing more important to me personally than what I call essential services, fire, police, and EMS. However, I'm also responsible to the taxpayers of the county, which we all are. And so I've spent a lot of time trying to understand. I'm not an expert in the field as you are, but I see, of course, I'm sure you have more structures that you have to take care of.
Yes, sir.
Salem Fire Department, somewhere around the $500,000 mark right now coming in from fire tax, I believe. That should be pretty accurate. And some smaller ones like where I live in Enola, you know, $100 and some thousand, $150. And I do know, and I appreciate the fact that your fire tax rate has been lower, but I'm kind of looking at the bigger pot of money too. And so I'm personally kind of caught in this. Well, I've had some people call me going, well, why in the world? I can't afford any more taxes. Yeah. And I understand that too. I even had a guy call me and he's on the personal property tax list, and he and his wife both work, but they got a family, and it was only $200 and some of personal property tax. So, you know, we hear all these kind of calls.
I understand.
And I thought, well, with that kind of money you have, I just thought, well, maybe there's a way to cash flow that building payment. And that's a beautiful building. I went out there this weekend and just sat around and looked, and big, beautiful place, which surprised me. I mean, I've driven by it, but I've never pulled up in there, and the place was big. It was bigger than I would have thought.
I'd love to show it to you. It is a nice building. There's nothing opulent about it. I've heard that thrown around several times. It is a functional building, and we use it for the community.
I was just wondering if there's not a way, because I know we're going to have a tax reeval coming up probably in 2027. Is that right?
There is.
I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be nice to kind of just continue a little relief for the citizens? You looks like you got plenty of money to make those payments. 2027 reeval is going to hit, and I think estimates are 30 to 50%. We all see what the market's still doing. It's crazy. Just an idea, because I'm trying to figure out how do we help our citizens and help our folks who protect us.
I've got two things I'd like to share. One, you know, our board spent well over 10 years, 12 years saving that $1.5 million. I'm not sure how much they had to start with, but they saved about $1 million over that period of time. You can't save money fast enough to keep up with operational expenses, inflation, or the increase in building costs. During the period of time that they saved $1 million, the cost of that building doubled from $2 to about $4 million. It cost $3 million to save $1 million nest egg. That's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but it's it's what we've ran into. The other thing is, speaking of grants and whatnot, them so diligently saving that money has created the same issue with grants. We've got a few grants here and there, but I think we would have got more were we not sitting on money they were saving that was earmarked for this purpose. Very diligent to do so. But I think in the long run, that's created some issues for us. Just as people now wondering, well, if you got this money, why do you need more? Because that's going to be used. That money is earmarked. It is gone. Okay, it will be spent either on the building, paying down the mortgage, or if necessary, saving it for a down payment on the truck, a bigger chunk of it than we were originally going to. But that's not money we're just going to continue to sit on. That it has a end date.
Yes, sir.
In sight.
When I first pulled up, the building looks brick, but I think it's metal, isn't it? Because I went to the side.
It is a metal building, it has a brick veneer, yes, sir.
And that was $4 million, about.
Altogether, yes, including what we paid initially in design costs up front, a lot of site preparation, moving dirt, things like that, but all told, yes. Close to it.
I just want you to know none of this is personal, because I love our EMS, fire, police, I really do. And thank you so much for what y'all do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add something too. Along Brian's thing, I feel the same way. I think y'all set an excellent example. I think y'all, I mean, I was talking to the county manager earlier. I would like to see all our fire departments volunteer, be on one level like you guys are doing, set and stand. I'm sure they all are. Like to bet sits on the same page, and y'all know me. I want y'all to have everything you can have and the best in it. That being said, you know, me and Brian personally, you know, that was the thing we were elected for is, you know, no taxes and those kind of things. And it gets us in a precarious place, you know, because we have to set the tax rate as commissioners, you know, not the board, not everything everybody else is doing. You do one for one fire department, you're going to have to do them for all. And we want to do that. We want to do that. But that being said, you know, I would like to be moving forward, not the previous boards. You know, I'd like to be more in tune and connected with everything that's going on. I know you guys are able to do that for me because, you know, I want to see us all do good. So I don't think it's going to be a problem moving forward, but I'm like Brian, it kind of, you know, it's hard to go up on taxes right now, but I know it's needed and y'all have done everything right and set an example. So anyway.
And I would also like to point out again, how low our tax rate is compared to the rest of the county. And that we did, in fact, go revenue neutral a few years ago, the only department in the county to do so. So I don't think there's any way that, you know, anyone could think that we've not done.
Well, everybody I've talked to, you know, everybody I've talked to is nothing but good with you guys. And everybody seems like they really, you know, want you guys to have what you're having, you know, but that being said, you know, just from a tax rate.
I understand. And you also mentioned, you know, treating one department as all the others. Look at our tax rate being nearly half of some other districts and what we've done with that. So
I think it's awesome, but we can collectively moving forward. It's kind of what I'm saying, moving forward, always being on the same page and giving you what you need.
You know, I also gave some thought to what you were saying about, you know, possibly buying trucks as a group, or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you spec a truck.
I got you.
You know, doing a group spec. I don't think that would be a bad idea at all. I think it's something that would take a lot of collaboration between the departments. But if we did have more departments, you know, buying power together, I think that could definitely help us.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say a couple of things. I don't think there's anybody sitting up here that would get on the soapbox about taxes more than I can. I can rant and rave with the best of them like Ain't B on Andy Griffith. But public safety is near and dear to my heart. Yeah. And I made phone calls. I never met you until a couple weeks ago. And I made some phone calls around town here and out there. And I live in your district. So when I vote tonight, I'm going to be voting to raise my own taxes. So I feel like I can get on this soapbox. But everybody I talked to said that this man, Mr. Autry, is not gonna ask for something if he doesn't need it. And I trust them. I will tell you that when the fire departments first started in Burke County, that was kind of contentious then too. I know my grandpa was a founding member of George Hildebrand Fire Department. And the loudest guy down there that didn't want to have to pay the taxes, when the thing was built, they backed the fire trucks up in there. The very first call they made was to his daughter's house to put a fire out.
Wow.
It saved her house. I never heard another word out of him after that. But volunteer firemen are good people. They're community-minded. They do more than just fight fires. I know because I had a family member that was one of them. And they're the first ones to have a benefit dinner or something for somebody that's got cancer, and they open that building up for people to use it. I know George Hildebrand has opened it up for the county to use for voting and all that down there, and I appreciate what you do, and I'll be voting for you tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions, comments?
I would just like to comment as a former volunteer firefighter and first responder team leader. What your folks go through on a day-to-day basis, the training and the education that's required is tenfold what it was back when I was in that in the 90s. There's currently bills being introduced that if they get through the House, if they get through the legislature, are going to be very problematic for you guys.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to be problematic for the citizens in our county. And I would invite anybody who wants to know anything about those bills to see me after, but that's something that I do plan to take up. One of them I've already delivered to our North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and asked that we form some kind of statewide effort.
Thank you.
The ISO rating is huge. And I remember when I got county water out in George Hildebrand where I live, it was a game changer for me in terms of homeowners insurance. And I understand that you guys have to maintain equipment to a certain level. So, you know, as much as we would like to be able to, and some pieces of equipment I know you can, like if you have a fire and rescue vehicle, it doesn't matter that it's a few years old. But there are guidelines and restrictions on the equipment that you have that count towards your ISO rating. And as much as I don't want to see anybody taxed anymore. You know, we've given the county manager and the staff the direction to try to look at some way to pull that tax rate down this year. And I think they have rubbed nickels and pennies together till they come up with something that I think we're going to be happy with. But along with Commissioner Smith, didn't hear anything from anybody in the community after your presentation. So I called a few. Pretty much the resounding comment that I got back is that they're asking for it, you need to give it to them, because they wouldn't ask if they didn't need it. So I want to today say publicly that I appreciate everything you guys do. I don't live in Salem's district, but I know what the requirements are. And I know what the hearts of those people are who enter that building, and I couldn't be more grateful and appreciative. I mean, our primary responsibility as county commissioners is public safety. And if we fall short on public safety, none of the rest of it matters. So I support your efforts. I would like to, going forward, give the county some direction on maybe, I know that the county got plugged in really early with you guys this year, and they interviewed all the fire chiefs, and everybody came in and sat down. I think that was met with maybe some apprehension in the beginning by some. But it's really an honest way that they were just trying to engage to say, how can we help?
Sure.
And I would like to think that going forward, that help would be widely received by every department in the county. Mm-hmm. And that we have an opportunity to react and help you guys plan for the future.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So I say all that to say that God bless you. I support you. Thank you and your members for what you do. Thank those all across the county for what they do.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Other questions, comments? All right, seeing here none, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to direct the county manager to include .0248 increase in the fire tax rate for Salem Fire and Rescue Protection Association Incorporated in the district proposed in fiscal year 25-26 budget. And I would like to add to that, because I would like the county staff took it upon themselves this year to engage with all these fire departments. I want to make sure that that's a more proactive stance, so I would like to add to that motion that give the staff a mandate to engage with our fire service personnel across the county.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns, if you don't mind, would you restate that increase amount, please, sir?
.0284 increase.
Thank you very much. With that, all those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Those opposed? Madam Clerk, that's 4-1. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
You're here tonight. All right, gentlemen, this brings us to item number 11, reports and comments. And we'll start right over there with Ms. Margaret. Anything from you, Margaret?
No, sir, thank you.
All right. Mr. Laws?
Yes, thanks, sir.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes, I would just like to say how wonderful it is to see everybody tonight. We'll have a great week.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burns?
Yes, I'll go ahead and define some of these bills that I talked about earlier. House Bill 675 would basically require every emergency medical technician, intermediate, all the way through the whole process to be registered in the National Registry. And that's something completely different than how we've operated in the past. Also, House Bill 219 would remove counties' franchise rights for EMS and patient transport. I think that would be problematic. And there's also a budget item in there that in the budget bill would, it's a removal of the disaster management from North Carolina Emergency Management for the first 30 days of an event. And for obvious reasons, we should feel that this would remove the response to handle disasters from local emergency management folks. There's also another one, I can't recall it, I think it's House Bill 365, that would basically strip the rights of local governments as it relates to zoning. And we want to make sure we take a good look at that. I think the association's already taken that one up.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Manager?
Nothing from me, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair?
I would like to say I appreciate the folks from DSS coming tonight, talking about the foster program and the child abuse and all that. We appreciate what you folks do too.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Barrier?
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank Mr. Chairman for allowing me to be on the opioid director interview team. That's been a pleasure. That's something I'm very passionate about. This past month, of course, I'm on the Department of Social Services Board, so I attended that meeting, our library board, our Smart Start, and Child Fatality Prevention team. So I'm on some of these children teams, and it is heartbreaking. So to hear our guardian ad litem representatives and to sit in that Department of Social Services and hear what the folks over in that building have to go through when these kids are there in the building, many of them in a mental condition that they should not be in that building, causing some trauma for our staff out there. So I just want to thank all of our teams for what they do and what they go through, and I think we're gonna push hard and work hard to get some help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrier. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I just would like to report that Burke County Animal Services Cup is running over with dogs and cats, and would encourage anybody in the audience, if they are willing to foster a cat or a dog, even for a little while, that everything you need is provided, and it would be a tremendous help to get to open that space back up.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And then I'll just make a few reminders, courtesy reminders. May the 5th, Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting will occur here in this room at 3 p.m. May the 19th, we have a special meeting concerning the Marshall Lee's order to vacate. That's at 9 a.m. May 19th, our regular meeting that same evening at 6 p.m. would again remind the youth groups and others who might be interested in leading our Pledge of Allegiance here at the start of our meeting to please sign up. You can do that via form on the county's website, or you can speak to Madam Clerk. Also, Madam Clerk's already talked about the needs of our Animal Services Center and spay and neuter your pets. And we also had some proclamation relating to litter. So I would remind you again to take care of litter around your place when you're out and about. Pick up and be sure to contain your litter when you're driving around, and don't throw it in the back of the truck. Okay? All right. Madam Clerk, I'll recognize you for vacancy announcements at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be engaged in county boards and committees: the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, Burke County Public Health Advisory Board, Hickory Regional Planning Commission, Drexel Planning Board ETJ alternate, and Partners Health Management's Human Rights Committee.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that brings us to item 13, and I am pleased to report that we do not need a closed session tonight. And with that, we'll come to item 14, adjournment, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Vice Chair, all those in favor signify by uplifting your hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Appreciate it.